No addiction is a disease. It is something that recurs. The drug hijacks the brain.
Addiction is something much broader than a biological or a neurological response in the brain. Do you expect addiction to decrease, remain the same, or increase in the next 20, 40, 50 years? 90% of them will say it's going to increase.
Because the real problem is not the withdrawal symptoms per se, but it's what happens to the person's free will, if you like. What happens to the choices that they make, the behaviors that they engage in. We now recognize that addiction covers things that don't even involve drugs. Gambling, for example, some forms of internet use, and even issues such as eating disorders or obesity. So there is this general term that we're now using to describe a behavioral problem in which there's a powerful motivation to engage in a behavior which has been learnt through experience and which is causing harm.
We have a whole science that can't deal with the most fundamental and most interesting aspect of the phenomenon. And if you ask most people, as I often do, why you gave up smoking, I'll go to a conference and I'll say, what's the hardest addiction to quit? Drug addiction. Recovering people always scream out smoking and nicotine. Then I'll say, oh, has anybody here quit a nicotine addiction? And 60% of the room raises their hand. I say, well, how many of you have had some kind of therapy to do that? Nicotine replacement therapy or group therapy? And 5 people out of 500 will raise their hand. I'll say, wow, you're a very radical bunch. How did that happen? And of course, what happens is somehow that addictive habit butts up against some critical self-concept or life issue, and the addiction has to be rejected.
The fundamental differences arise from the social context, the pharmacology of the drug, if there is a drug involved, and the psychological reactions to the drug and the social context in which it occurs.
We've got all these powerful models of addiction located in neurochemistry. For example, the nicotine replacement model of addiction, the nicotine maintenance model of addiction, which explains carefully that no human being can overcome nicotine addiction, and then is dazzled by the fact that about 50% of addicted smokers overcome addiction.